Well, you guys already knew it was coming, but Colby Covington has already spouted off a bunch of pathetic, humiliating excuses for why he got dominated and stopped by Joaquin Buckley at UFC Tampa. And it wasn't just Colby Covington giving out a bunch of different excuses for why he lost and a bunch of other delusional stuff that was included in his recent vlog on his YouTube channel, which we're going to take a look at here in a second. But it wasn't just him. It was also his new coach, Chael Sonnen, who put out one of the most delusional videos I have seen in my entire life, all making excuses and setting up certain narratives to make Colby Covington look better and acting like it was one of his best fights in his UFC career. It was absolutely insane. And we all knew this was coming. We all knew the pathetic, humiliating excuses were coming from Colby Covington. But of course, I'm going to cover it on this channel. And I covered it yesterday when Dana White, this basically confirms Dana White, Colby Covington, Chael Sonnen, they were all in collusion basically to spin a certain narrative. If you have not watched my Dana White video on Colby Covington, I'll give you a quick summary, but I encourage you to go check it out. I'll link it in the description as well as the end cards. Dana White went to the UFC Tampa post-fight press conference and basically gave nothing but excuses for Colby Covington and not 1 ounce of praise for Joaquin Buckley for winning the fight. Not 1 ounce of praise. And in that video where I discussed Dana White's response, I said he's already setting up the narrative. He's teeing up the narrative for Colby Covington, and he's also helping convince the fan base of this narrative as well, because I thought people were trolling. There's people that actually believe, yeah, Colby had him right where he wanted him. Colby had him, it was 1-1 going into the third. A bunch of delusional stuff. But I want you to remember the Dana White press conference, because we're basically going to look at a piece of the Dana White press conference here in a second. But I want to start off with the failed con man, Chael Sonnen himself, who is honestly losing influence over the MMA community. This guy pumps out 30 videos a day. He just goes into his recording studio, batch records 50 videos that are 8 minutes long. He puts an ad that's a minute and a half long in the beginning. And essentially, he's losing relevancy. Chael Sonnen was able to extend his relevancy even after he retired from MMA because of his mouth. He was talking trash when he was in the UFC, became a big star in the UFC, or partially a big star in the UFC. And it was all due to his mouth, but also losing close fights in title fights. Well, losing one title fight close, actually, where he almost won and then got submitted at the end, okay? The other one wasn't so close. He got absolutely dominated by Anderson Silva. But does that sound familiar? A guy who's known for running his mouth and coming up short in title fights. Him and Colby Covington are a match made in heaven. But of course, Chael, he's a talking head for the UFC. Okay, all he does is regurgitate whatever Dana White narrative, he's ordered to. And in this case, he's friends with Colby. He's been friends with Colby for a while. He walked out with Colby. He was in his corner, even though he didn't give him any corner advice. Literally, Colby would get dominated. Colby would go back to the corner, and Chael would be like, man, that was a great round. Then when Colby's literally getting bludgeoned with body shots and sprawled right on his head, Chael's just dead silent in the corner. But Chael put out a video, of course, basically trying to do a spin piece for Colby Covington. He figured, I can get some good views. Let me title it, Chael Sonnen was going to throw in the towel. But really, it's just a contrived way of trying to spin the narrative for Colby and his domination loss to Joaquin Buckley. But let's just jump right into it, because honestly, I could barely watch this entire video from Chael. It was humiliating, embarrassing, and these guys hide behind a character. Oh, it's just all a shtick. It's all a character. It's humiliating at this point. They believe some of this stuff, but they hide behind, oh, it's just a character. It's just a character. Let's listen to what Chael had to say. We're going to watch a couple clips from Chael before we get into Colby Covington's vlog on his YouTube channel. Let's listen.
If we could have got to a 4th or 5th round, it would have been better in assessing Buckley, because he'd never been scheduled for championship rounds. For championship rounds before. He had never done championship rounds. So you always got to question. You just question the guy, whether it's fair or not.
Acting as if had it got to the 4th or 5th round, you never know what would happen. Literally, Colby looked more tired than Buckley in the 3rd round. But they're acting as if, yeah, man, we would have liked to seen it to go to that 4th or 5th round. So you could watch what? So you could watch Colby get TKO'd or brutally KO'd in the 4th round. He was getting dominated. There was no bright spots for Colby in this entire fight. I mean, he was literally getting destroyed, had nothing to offer at all. Got like one takedown and laid there doing nothing for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds before Buckley just easily forced his way up because Colby's too weak in beta. But let's carry on. Let's listen to some more, because the next part, I mean, is just, he's hyping up Buckley now to try to justify Colby's loss, which, fair enough to Chael. At least he did more promotion for Buckley than Dana did. Listen to this.
His ceiling is unknown. He would be a problem for Rakhmonov. The Rakhmonov that fought 2 weeks ago, tonight's Buckley would have beat him.
Absolutely disagree. He would beat Rakhmonov. But that's one thing to say. Okay, maybe he's down on Rakhmonov for whatever reason. But the next few fighters he picks out are just crazy to me.
Buckley would be a problem for Ian Gary. Buckley would be a match for Bilal Muhammad. Does any of that surprise you? Would you like to disagree with any of that?
Yeah, I think I would like to disagree with all of it. You know, I think you just made that up. Okay, I think Buckley can be competitive with those guys. Bilal is a stylistic nightmare matchup for Buckley. Bilal is a way better striker than Colby. He's way stronger than Colby, and he has way better grappling than Colby. And he still has 5-round cardio. So you're talking about Buckley, you never know, 4th or 5th round. You think Bilal would actually push the pace on him and landed shots. And also Bilal's defensively sound. Also, I think Gary absolutely destroys Buckley. But this isn't the most delusional take. Fair enough. You want to think Buckley could win those fights. Fair enough, whatever. But then he gets on to, yeah, how did Buckley know about these takedowns? How did he know? What was Colby's tell on the takedowns? I mean, this is crazy. I'll give you his tell, Chael.
Coming in for takedowns, but Buckley knew. Every time Colby was thinking takedowns, somehow Buckley knew. I would love if these two make up. You know, sometimes you do that after you fight. You shake hands and maybe even help one another. I would love if Buckley would call me or tell me, because before Colby shot, every time Buckley knew. And Buckley defended it the same way every time, which is
he sprawled him. He sprawled him into the canvas, okay? Is Chael delusional? Does he really believe this? I would love to know. Colby's takedowns were so telegraphed because he looked old and slow, and also because Colby, the only time his takedowns have looked good against old dudes on losing streaks. Robbie Lawler, almost 40 years old, on a losing streak. Tyron Woodley, old, losing streak. Buckley is young, athletic, and in his prime. He saw Colby's takedowns coming a mile away. I mean, they were so obvious. He would charge forward, throw a 3 or 4 piece combination, sloppy combination, and then he would shoot a takedown and get sprawled right on his forehead. So that's why, Chael. A couple more clips from this, because it's just crazy how much Chael's trying to cover for him. Here he tries to say it was one of Colby's, like basically one of Colby's best fights. Like he came in second, but it doesn't feel like it. Acting like it was a great fight. And he said something delusional in Colby's vlog too, which we'll get to in a second.
Reminding myself that Colby came in second, because it didn't feel like that. The tide of that match was turning, and Colby did have a few things to prove to everybody, including himself. The performance that Colby had against Leon, right? If you're going to look at somebody's career.
Listen, he goes into a spiel about how the Leon Edwards fight, he broke his foot, this and that. I mean, does this guy really believe this? Does he really believe this? I don't feel like he came in. It didn't feel like he came in second. I mean, he proved a lot out there. And then the last couple clips is basically Chael complimenting Colby, not on his performance for doing anything skilled or landing any shots. Well, actually, he does talk about one shot in particular. I think it's in here. Yeah. But he's just saying, yeah, man, he's dog tough. Listen to this.
About Colby had questions that needed to be answered. It turns out he is dog tough.
When you're complimenting someone on their toughness, that means they got their ass whooped, which is what he did. And then he goes on. We'll listen to 2 more clips, 2 more short clips here. Basically, same thing, how tough Colby is.
When your clock and your time has expired, you're already thinking, do I want to be in here? And there was nothing in that fight. I mean, Colby looked so dog tough. Buckley did too. Buckley
didn't need to look tough because he didn't need any shots. He got taken down once. The other time it's because he tried an inverted triangle because he was toying with Colby.
Hit on his feet with everything you could do. I mean, he's busted open so bad the doctor has to look at it 3 times. Twice he stops the action to let it keep going. The 3rd time he said, man, we can't go anymore. I was going to stop that fight. I already grabbed the towel. When the doctor came in for the 3rd time and I'm watching that blood, it's not stopping. And it is going into the eye. And that's the only thing you're really looking for.
So I'm going to break this down again very shortly. I did it in the Dana White video as well. What Dana and Chael are trying to say when he says, oh, I don't think Colby was mad that it got stopped. Chael saying I would have thrown in the towel. It's not that he was getting beat so badly, is that he was so compromised from that cut, he couldn't put on a performance because otherwise he would have won, is what he's trying to say here. And then we're going to skip ahead to one more clip. I can barely listen to Chael. I mean, this is so painful to me. This is so painful to me. Again, Colby's dog tough. All Colby has is losses to Kamaru Usman. That's his biggest achievement in his entire career, is coming up short in title fights. And again, Chael's trying to hype him up off of getting his ass beat against Joaquin Buckley. I've seen fans hyping up Colby. Yeah, man, Colby came to fight. Colby came to fight. He literally got whooped and had no bright spots in the entire fight. Got whooped badly. Everywhere. Just got manhandled. Stuffed. He got one takedown, did nothing with it, did no damage. Didn't land any shots, didn't hurt Buckley at all. Buckley didn't even look like he had been in a fight. And they're hyping up Colby. I literally think Chael says something along the lines of this is one of his best performances. Right up there with Kamaru Usman, which is fitting because, again, you know, we're complimenting a loss here.
Look at the grit meter. This was one of Colby's best fights. When you look at the digging deep, this does not replace the fight with Kamaru Usman, but god damn, it's right there. When you look at grit, and you look at the shots that he took, you look at the damage that they did, and he did not care.
He didn't care about those back shots dead. I mean, seriously. Colby is a walking participation trophy at this point. Man, he lost to Kamaru Usman, but man, did he do a bang-up job. He lost and got dominated by Buckley, but did you see those shots he was taking? He was taking back shots dead. He was taking body shots dead. He was taking head shots dead. And he just stuck in there. He was gritty and tough. But that's enough of Chael Sonnen. That's enough of Chael Sonnen. Let's get to Colby's vlog. And this is I'm literally at 0, 0, 0 on the vlog. Because, again, as my takes continue to age well, I told you that Colby would easily be using Dana White's footage and pointing to Dana White to make excuses for this fight. This is I'm about to show you the very first few seconds of Colby's vlog. By the way, I will link this down in the description because Colby recently has really all of a sudden became more social media, had more of a social media presence with YouTube and Twitch. And it's clear he's finally really trying to transition into what I've been saying he's going to do for years, which is online right-wing talking grifter, talking head. Okay, not just yet. He hasn't made that transition yet, but he's trying to build up his following with MMA content. And I'll tell this to Colby right now. It's a few years too late, man. He should have started this years ago. He would have actually had probably a decent following by now. But this is the first few seconds. This is literally the intro to Colby's vlog. But I will link it down in the description if you want to go check out the full thing. We're only going to check out a few clips from it.
You know, no doubt that was a bad cut, but that fight doesn't get stopped in Vegas. That fight keeps going in Vegas.
Immediately using Dana White. Dana White didn't say one. Buckley has nothing to use in his vlog. Buckley doesn't have one compliment from the boss about his performance going out there and absolutely smashing Colby Covington. But don't worry, Colby has excuses to use from Dana because he has Dana White privilege. Next clip, and it gets more delusional as we go on. The next clip, Chael Sonnen. I mean, this dude's surrounded by yes men. You know how we talk about there's guys in the UFC and in the sport in general that are surrounded by yes men? Chael hypes him up, talks about what a great fight it was, what a war it was, and that he's probably looking at fight of the night bonuses. I mean, does he actually believe this, or was this just for the cameras? Does Chael know what a war is? Does he know what a war is? Because it's a back and forth competitive fight. This was a one-sided whooping. Joaquin Buckley beat Colby Covington like Hulk Hogan was screaming the N-word in his corner with the hard R. That's how bad Buckley whooped Colby. And this is Chael saying, yeah, it was a heck of a fight, man. It was an absolute war. You're looking at fight of the night bonus. What planet is this guy living on?
Oh my goodness, that was a fight. Oh my goodness, Colby. Man.
Not bad for no training camp.
Not bad at all.
Not bad for no training camp. Here comes the excuses from Colby, too.
Oh, not bad at all. Your kicks were on point tonight.
Yeah.
He hit you with his, but those were hard shots. Yeah. And it was hard for anybody to see because you just took him. Even us on the corner were going, that's got it. Well, I guess it didn't hurt. He's still going forward.
Yeah.
And your takedowns, you even got your head stuck in the middle, but you were working your way out, got your hands locked. And it was great. Everything was going great. But
Everything, it was great. Everything was going great. Yeah, is that why you were dead silent in the corner, not saying a single word? Because you had no advice to give him. This is the worst cornerman you could ever have. And by the way, Chael Sonnen is the worst role model for Colby Covington, because Chael in another year or two is going to be completely irrelevant. Because right now, all he does is peddle his online MMA influence with bullshit videos that are worth absolutely nothing, where he's talking in circles and giving no information of any substance and pushing UFC propaganda as much as he can, shitting on Francis Ngannou and so forth. And Colby's trying to follow Chael Sonnen as a role model for what to do afterwards. Well, you only got about 5 years of that, maybe, Colby, okay? You only got about 5 years of that, because your relevancy is going to be completely gone if you're anything like Chael Sonnen, and you're going to be doing these weird promos. You're going to do 8-minute videos with 1 minute ads, 1 minute and 30-second ads in the beginning. And it's just, I mean, it's just a disgrace. And he continues a little bit more here and talks about the bonus here in a second.
The tide was turning. That does not count. I do not accept that. Yeah. Not at all, man. That was a great fight, and you fought.
The tide was turning. And that was a great fight.
Really hard. You're probably looking at the bonus on that for the night. That was really quite a war you guys just did. You should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
You should be very proud. You should not be proud of that. You should not be proud of that. You fought fight of the night. I mean, imagine me. How can you be proud when you can't ever accept a loss? How can you grow and get better when you can never accept a loss? And you make nothing but excuses. And you guys can say, oh, well, it's a character. It's a character. It's a character. They hide behind that. They partially believe these excuses. Colby definitely does. And they hide behind the whole character. It's a character. Who cares if I say ridiculous, delusional stuff? It's a character. How is he ever going to get better if he's like, oh, it was because of the training camp. Oh, it was because of the doctor. Which later he fumbles and tries to blame the judges instead of the doctor, which is absolutely hilarious. But to say that is fight of the night is absolute insanity. Now here, I mean, I didn't even expect hearing this from Colby. But here, Colby says it was a headbutt that cut him open. By the way, it was a right hand uppercut that cut him open, from everything we've seen in the replays. Listen to this. He's getting stitched up after he got his ass whooped by Buckley. And it was a head clash.
There was a big headbutt. I know that at one point. There was a nasty headbutt where we just both clashed heads.
So nasty headbutt where we clashed heads. Absolutely lie. Absolute lie. But this is the world we're living in. He's just going to make excuses. And, I know some people say you shouldn't really even talk about Colby. This is what he wants. Now, he deserves to be bashed. I wouldn't dare feel sorry for him. And to be honest, I can tell, and especially from this vlog, Colby knows his career is over. He's going to try, mark my words, he's going to try to get some winnable fight like a Wonderboy Thompson or maybe a Neil Magny. And he's going to try to eke out a win against a guy who's over the hill just like him, who's probably 40 years old on a losing streak. And then he's going to claim that he's the best in the world and he needs to go off and help Trump. And I'm retiring, and he's going to be a right-wing grifter online. Mark my words on that. Okay, or he's just going to continue to play poker, because I don't think the online grifter is going to work out for him, considering he stumbles over his words. Next clip we're going to check out. I told you guys, he's going to be using Dana White's narrative, regurgitating Dana White's narrative. Well, this guy, I don't know who this guy is. He's one of Colby's friends or training partners or manager. I don't know who he is. He looks like some type of supervillain, to be honest. He already starts telling Colby, yeah, man, Dana said it shouldn't have been stopped. Hunter said it shouldn't have been stopped. And I think either he or Colby says it was 1-1 going into that third round, which is a complete disgrace that they're saying this behind the scenes. I don't think this was pre-planned. I don't think this was said for the cameras. They actually believe, they chose what went in here. And this is what they said behind the scenes, that it was 1-1. They actually believe that. Listen to this.
Hunter and Dana said they wouldn't have stopped it in Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
Hunter and Dana said they wouldn't have stopped if it was Vegas.
Bullshit, like just building.
Yeah, it's just getting started. I mean, this guy's not built for 5 rounds, and you were starting to get going.
This guy was not built for 5 rounds. It was just getting started. And then what did he say at the end there? It was kind of whispering. It was kind of a little low for me.
Built for 5 rounds, and you were starting to get going.
There you go. You were just starting to get going. This guy's not built for 5 rounds. Literally, Colby looked more tired than Buckley did. Yeah, man, you had him right. This is the definition of, yeah, you had him right where you wanted him. You did absolutely no damage through 3 rounds. You had limited control time through 3 rounds, and he was beating you to death for 3 rounds. Yeah, you had him right where you wanted him. I mean, crazy. Next clip is actually where I think the 1-1 thing is said. I mixed it up a little bit. Right here, Colby says, yeah, Dana even said it shouldn't have been stopped. It shouldn't have been stopped. And he says, the judges stopped it. Actually, no, that's the next clip. Sorry. This clip, he says Dana even said it, and he says it's 1-1. Listen to this.
You know, I wasn't, at my best tonight. Came off the couch, but it was for the company. I did this for the company that I love so much that changed my life.
Came off the couch. Keep in mind he had a month's notice, which, granted, it was short notice. That is a legitimate excuse, but to act like he got a call on 1 day's notice like Dan Ige, and that's why he got whooped, is just completely delusional. He sat out for a whole year. So, to act like he wasn't in shape or anything like that, sat out for a year, ducked Ian Machado Gary like his life depended on it. They called him and offered him Ian Machado Gary on multiple occasions, and instead of saying yes and taking the fight, he just shit his britches like they were going out of style. But anyway, let's continue. And by the way, guys, if you enjoy these videos, do me a favor, like the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and have notifications on. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's listen to some more.
So, I know that there's still a lot of fight in me, and the best is yet to come. I was just getting warmed up in that fight. I think it was tied up 1-1. And
if you had it 1-1, you were mentally disabled. You don't know how to score fights, and you are incredibly biased. One of those, or all of them, potentially. And I know Colby's, I don't think Colby actually believes this. I wonder if he believes this one. I don't think, there's no way he actually believes this. But this is what he's saying. This is what he's got to put out there, because he is an old fighter who rode the coattails of losing title fights to Kamaru Usman. And that was his entire career. He beat up old dude. He doesn't have a single good win since 2018. And in 2018, he beat a dude who's a lightweight, career lightweight. Wasn't even a quality win, in my opinion. I mean, it was decent. Dos Anjos was a good fighter at the time, but still, career lightweight, undersized. But let's listen to some more.
I was starting to wear on him. I could see him breathing out of his mouth. I was starting to catch him on more shots. So it's unfortunate that they stopped it. Even Dana came out and said if that was in Vegas, that would have never been stopped. So, I took his hardest shots, and they weren't nothing. They didn't faze me at all. I was walking right down.
Yeah, well, it looked like it fazed you when you were shooting on takedowns, and then when he would sprawl you into the mat, you would just turn on your back like a beta male soy boy. But yeah, even Dana said it. They wouldn't have stopped it.
So we'll come back stronger. It's a lesson to everybody that faces adversity in life. Never give up, and never keep coming forward for your dreams and your goals in life,
Court, you heard that from Colby Covington. Never keep coming forward for your dreams in life. Whatever that means. I don't know if somebody can decipher that for me. Never keep coming forward. Okay. It was he had him right where he wanted him, though. Let's carry on, okay? Let's carry on, because the next clip, I think this is when he's back home. He says, man, it was a headbutt, and the judges stopped it here, is where he says the judges stopped it, and then he catches himself and says, oh, the doctor stopped it. Because, him, when he loses a decision, he blames the judges. When he gets stopped, he blames the ref. When he gets stopped via cut because some dude beat the absolute dog shit out of him, he blames the doctor. He's never, oh, this guy was just better. It wasn't my night. I'll come back stronger. I'll get better. This gimmick is old, tired, and humiliating. It's not funny. It never even made him a draw. Him versus Jorge Masvidal did under 400,000 buys, okay? And for those who don't believe me, Google UFC 274 400K buys. I think it's the Sports Business Review Journal. Said UFC 274, which is Oliveira Gaethje, did 400,000 buys and was the best pay-per-view sales of the year. Which means UFC 272, Colby versus Masvidal, did under 400K. Which I've been trying to tell people for years, that Colby, with all this gimmick and this whole entire act, never made him a draw. The pay-per-views that sold were because Kamaru Usman was a dominant champion, and they had someone in Colby who was talking, and they were like, can Colby be the guy? Does he have the style to beat him? And those pay-per-views sold well. But Colby was never a draw. He fought Masvidal, who's a bigger draw than him. They sold under 400K pay-per-view buys. But let's carry on. Listen to him making more excuses.
What happened? Yeah, so, we came in, in close contact, and I felt like there was a headbutt, and as soon as it cut in the first round, I couldn't see.
It was a headbutt. So he got headbutted. Doctor screwed him. He came off the couch. Any other excuses? I heard he had his period as well. I heard he had an injury to his vagina as well. Who knows what else? Let's listen.
I had blurred vision. I was seeing 3 different people. I was like, fuck, which one do I punch? I didn't know what.
He was seeing. Now he had blurred vision. He was seeing 3 different Joaquin Buckleys. He didn't know what one to punch, where you didn't punch any of them.
To do, I was kind of confused, but, I knew I had to keep fighting. I had to give the UFC and the fans a show, and that's what they pay their hard-earned money to come for. I'm a warrior. We're gladiators, so I'm not going to stop. I've had way worse in fights than a little cut over my eye, so it's unfortunate that the doctor stopped the fight like that, because if we're in Vegas, I know the fight gets to keep going, and I feel like I was really just starting to gain momentum. Like I was starting to wear, and I could see he was breathing out of his mouth. He wasn't as much volume at that point, so I feel like it was going to be my fight in the championship round. So it was an unfortunate stop, and I feel like the judges kind of, not the judges, but the doctor is the one that beat.
Started blaming the judges. He said doctor first, and then he said judges, and then he goes back to doctor again. He doesn't know who to blame. It's everyone's fault. It's Joaquin Buckley's fault. It's Hulk Hogan's fault. It's probably Kid Rock. Kid Rock didn't show up, otherwise he would have won. But yeah, he was just getting warmed up. And if he wouldn't have been seeing 3, and if he wouldn't have got headbutted, and wouldn't have had the blood in his eye, and wouldn't have been getting his ass whooped, and wouldn't have sat out for a year running from Ian Machado Gary, maybe he would have won. Maybe Hulk Hogan wasn't waving that flag enough. Maybe that's it. Maybe you needed Kid Rock and Elon Musk. Maybe you needed Google Chrome tabs opened up with searching them on Google. Maybe that's what he needed, okay? I mean, seriously, this guy's just full of excuses. Nothing but excuses over and over and over again. I think there's a little bit more to this.
Beat me tonight. I didn't feel like I lost to another opponent.
He didn't feel like he lost. He didn't feel like he lost. Well, he did. And that's a common theme for Colby. Anytime he fights someone who's under 40 and not on a losing streak, he typically loses. He has to fight guys who are senior citizens on losing streaks, and then he can win. That's why I believe he will be eyeballing Stephen Wonderboy Thompson next, which is why when he lost to Leon Edwards, got embarrassed there, shit the bed there, didn't fight there, didn't show up and try to fight at all, got dominated. That's why afterwards he said he was robbed by the liberal judges, and he had a broken foot and this, an excuse, and he had altitude sickness. He was training, 9,000 square feet above sea level when he got altitude sickness heading into that Leon Edwards fight. He had a full camp for that. He sat out for 2 years to get that Leon Edwards fight, fought in March of 2022 against Jorge Masvidal, sat out till December 2023. That wasn't enough time for him to get prepared. Wasn't enough time because Leon Edwards wasn't an old man on a losing streak. Last 2 clips we're going to take a look at is just more, this coping is unbelievable. He talks about it being on short notice, and man, I was just getting my wind. So why does it matter? So if you had a month's notice, but you had the cardio advantage, then why does it even matter? Most of the time when we talk about short notice fights, it's preparation for styles, but it's not like Buckley has a super complex style, and it's also mainly like, yeah, I gassed out because I didn't have a full training camp. Well, you said you had him right where you wanted him in the 4th and 5th round. It's just more excuses. It's embarrassing. This act is just humiliating. He needs to drop it at this point.
Ahead of me, and I'm going to come back stronger from this. I'm not going to let this define me. It's one fight, and I'm more than just a fighter, I'm going to let this fuel me. I'm going to get a full training camp. Came on short notice. This is for the company. This is for the fans. This wasn't a full training camp. I was campaigning with Trump, getting him ready. I wasn't even in the
He was getting Trump ready. He was getting Trump ready. That's why when he found out a month ago he was getting the fight, he wasn't prepared. He got forced in this fight, by the way. I did a video on that. He even accidentally slipped up at the press conference and said the UFC pushed him into fighting Buckley because he sat out for so long. They needed a main event. By the way, when he walked out in his own home state with Hulk Hogan, crickets. First round, they're chanting Colby sucks. I don't think anyone cares for Colby's act anymore. He just needs to drop it at this point.
Training room. I came off the couch on 2.5 weeks notice, so it's a tough ending to go like that. I feel like I was just getting my wind and I was going to come on strong, but it is what it is. That's life. You don't hang your head. And
yeah, he was just getting his wind and he was going to come on strong. Does anyone honestly believe that? I certainly don't. Last clip we're going to take a look at. This guy just keeps humiliating himself over and over. He's literally riding the coattails of a tornado kick that barely landed in the 3rd round, I believe it was. It landed mostly to the arm of Buckley. And he talks about, yeah, Buckley was hyping me up. He told me it was a nice kick. And when I was ground and pounding him, there's very little ground and pound that he threw. Buckley was saying, yeah, great shot. Buckley was taunting you. Buckley was humiliating you. Buckley was toying with you. That's why he was talking to you like that. Because he was whooping you bad. He's whooping you bad. That's exactly what happened. But listen to this.
I feel like the fans got robbed, I was just coming out. I landed a spinning kick, and he was like, whoa. I could see he was a little wobbled from me. He was like, man.
He was wobbled. Now, that's actually funny. Okay, that's funny. Buckley was wobbled from that spinning kick. Yeah, right.
And nice kick, he was telling me. Like, I landed a takedown, started hitting some body shots. Like, dude, you're doing good now. He was, like, boosting me up. He was, like, boosting my confidence. So I was, like, I feel like I was starting to wear it. And everybody knows I'm cardio king. I come on as the fight goes on. It took me a little bit to get
cardio king, but yet, excuse, I came off the couch.
Get into the fight. I had a really tough weight cut on short notice. And I just feel like I was coming on. So just a little disappointment, but, I'm not going to hold my head,
A very tough weight cut. Keep in mind, this dude acts like he cuts no weight and acts like he's such a small welterweight, so he can be an overachiever. People talking about Colby going to lightweight. I don't think he could ever make lightweight because he cuts weight to get to welterweight. He just acts like he doesn't so people can give him more praise. Yeah, Colby's a small welterweight. Colby's not a small welterweight at all, okay? He's a shit welterweight. He's never good. He was overhyped off of losses against Kamaru Usman. But the weight cuts, I mean, I don't think he's cutting the most weight in the welterweight division. He's never making it to lightweight. I'd be shocked if he ever made it to lightweight. But he blames the weight cut. So well, think about all those excuses. He came off the couch, was a weight cut. The doctor screwed him. The judges screwed him. He was seeing 3. Man, he had him in the 5th round, had him right where, I mean, think about those litany of excuses. What a complete and utter embarrassment, completely humiliated himself. He needs to drop the act. He's not a draw. The fans don't like him. The fans don't even really care about him that much, to be quite honest. He's a laughing stock. Imagine you're going to drum up a persona to get relevancy in the sport, and your persona is, I'm a shit fighter who loses constantly and makes excuses for all those losses like they were never my fault and like I'm still good. This dude doesn't even belong to be in the rankings. I don't know when the new rankings come out. He should be out of the top 10. He's got 1 win since March of 2022. It's almost 2025. He's still going to be a top 5 guy? Absolutely not. Buckley dominated him from start to finish. And of course, because he's ready to, in the next year or two, make that transition to online talking head, he's putting out these vlogs and he's making all these excuses and he's praying that some of his fans regurgitate them, but the fans are dwindling. He called out Ian Machado Gary, and it gave him 3 stipulations. That was his only opportunity to get some respect back. Take on the guy that the fan base does not like in Gary, the majority of the fan base. Now, Gary, think about the perception of Gary from last year to now. Gary stepped in on short notice against Shavkat Rakhmonov and had a very, very close fight. Colby fought Buckley, got absolutely wrecked, and made nothing but excuses for why he lost. Think about that. But yeah, he's got to drop the act. He's got to stop following Chael Sonnen as a role model. Chael Sonnen's probably going to be broke and bankrupt in the next couple of years. His YouTube channel in the next 3 or 4 years is going to be completely shut down because it's not going to get any views because it offers nothing of substance. But of course, that is somebody that I would expect Colby Covington to surround himself with and take advice from. He basically has the same manager as Michael Chandler at this point. That's where Colby Covington's at. The only thing Colby Covington has gotten right in the last few years is that Conor McGregor wasn't going to fight Michael Chandler. So I don't know what fight he's going to try to get next, probably Wonderboy, but they ought to feed him to Carlos Prates. That's what I'd like to see next. I mean, because he doesn't even really deserve the Gary fight anymore, but I'd love to watch Gary absolutely wreck him, but he'd never take that fight. So let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.